All right, hello everyone. This is Jack Bosch speaking, and welcome to the Wholesaling Houses course. And this session is about how to negotiate and lock up a deal. So again, this is the Wholesaling Houses master course, and today's session is about how to negotiate and lock up a deal. Now, we talked in the last session quite a bit about that too, but it's time to wrap the subject up because this is really where you make your money in that part. Now, my name is Jack Bosch. I'm the co-founder of My Open Path. And today we also having as guest Mr. Mike McKenzie. Mike, are you on the line?
I am.
All right, wonderful. I'm glad to hear you, and your sound is very clear, and that's very exciting. So without further delay, let's get started. By the way, if you have not ever heard of Mike McKenzie, Mike is one of our other contributors to the My Open Path, and he not only that, he is also a professional wholesaler, rehabber, house flipper, and has in his career already done the incredible amount of 400 houses and pieces of real estate that he has flipped. So therefore, I'm very excited to have him on the line here. We're going to do a little back and forth. The first half, I'm going to dominate a little bit more. I'm going to talk a little more. The second half, he's going to guide us a little bit more through it. All right, so what you will learn today you will learn how to understand the difference between retail and wholesale cost. I know we talked about in the last session about that too, but this is a focus of today. We're literally going to give you a roster of different rehab costs and what they are retailing to versus wholesale, in addition to what we already did in the last session. We're also going to running some of the numbers of a deal. Plus, we're putting together a compelling offer, and we're going to talk about the name of the game is speed and professionalism. And last but not least, we're going to talk about the understanding understanding the contracts and the agreements. So we're going to go through some of the most popular, most commonly used agreements, and what is important, the important pieces about them, what you need to make sure you have covered, and what you need to make sure you complete in those contracts. All right, so with that, let's get started. In module number 1, we're going to start talking about the difference between wholesale and retail and why retail and wholesale costs. So one of the biggest bargaining point, or actually negotiation points in the negotiation process, is the contrast between what it will cost the owner to sell a property themselves on the market and what it will cost a professional. So I told that story before. When I for example, I flipped a whole bunch of houses, flipped over 3,000 pieces of real estate in my career. And when I bought the house that I'm living in right now, we rehabbed the kitchen and we had to change the kitchen countertops. As a matter of fact, in all 5 bathrooms of the house I'm living in, we changed all kitchen countertops, and we were able to do that for under $5,000, something like $4,500, including installation. And that is an incredible amount considering if you see the size of the kitchen with the island and things around. It's a pretty incredible number. Probably somebody else would have paid easily $12,000 for the same job, if not more. But because we know where to go as an experienced, some of the experienced rehabber, or all experienced rehabbers, they know where to go, where they find the material, the granite for half price, where they find the labor for half price, and the installation for half price. So as a result, they're paying only half price. The second biggest, it's also the part of the difference between retail and wholesale cost is the second biggest leverage point you have, it's actually the biggest leverage point. The second biggest leverage point that you have is the time that it will take for the owner to sell a property on the open market. So really, those are 2 pieces that you want to play with when you're negotiating with the deal. And for example, Mike, you can talk about that a little bit, how you use that in your day-to-day life, for example.
Exactly. That's the big thing we have found on to potential sellers is that we're here right now. We're ready to make a deal with you, close it quickly. We're going to close it with as is. We're not going to ask you to do repairs. There's no more money out of your pocket. We give you a check. We're not asking you to spend a dime, and we move fast. And most sellers, that's very attractive to them.
Right. Exactly. So that's I mean, even plays the role for myself again. If I can bring up another example, I have a portfolio of rental properties, and one of them is just this proverbial nightmare property. There's always one of them, right? We have properties for that I own for 8 years that I've never had an issue with. I have properties that I own for 15 years that I literally never had an issue with. I have the same tenants in there for probably 6 years now. And the rent increases, they keep the house clean, everything is perfect. This house is just the opposite. The tenants turn over every year, they leave the property vandalized, and every year my positive cash flow is being eaten up by the repairs I have to make. So I'm kind of like sick and tired of that. And while I repair it, somebody breaks into the house. Now, needless to say, this house is in a different neighborhood than the other one I just talked about. But at the same time, I just want to get rid of that house. I am a tired landlord on that house. Now, outside of that house, I love landlording. I love the fact that somebody else pays money to live in a house that I own and writes me a check every month. I love mailbox money. But this house, I just want to get rid of. So what we did, the last tenant moved out a couple of months ago. We decided to no longer have this house, to fix it up. So we fixed it up. We let it sit there over Christmas. We had squatters inside. We had people living inside. We had to kick them out. It was a nightmare. And now the rehab process happened, and literally we now listed it with a real estate agent in here, and the real estate agent basically told us, you can list it, it's a low-end house, you can list it for 120 and it's probably going to sell in less than 30 days. You can list it for 130 and it might probably sit there for 3 months. Now I want to get to the extra $10,000, but is the extra $10,000 worth me holding on to the property for 2 more months and running the risk that somebody vandalizes it again and I have to spend an extra $7,000 repairing it? Just to perhaps make the extra 10 grand? Probably not. So what I probably do, and I'll make the decision tomorrow, is I probably just agree to the 1990, basically, or $119,900 as a listing price to get a contract on that property like next week. So it's the same thing. Like, I want to get rid of that thing. I don't want to wait another 3 months to get rid of it. I want to get rid of it now, even though I can rehab it at fairly reasonable cost. So it applies even to professional real estate people that they have a property with just too much going on and they just don't want to have that anymore. So good. So now let's look at selling the properties, what it costs a seller to sell a property themselves versus the rehabber cost, the wholesale cost, right? So the retail cost is on the left, the wholesale rehabber cost is on the right. So you look at these numbers, in certain areas there's not much difference because the sheer fact is just that a roof has a lot of material and there's a lot of labor going in. So based on, it doesn't take very long, but it's a crew of multiple people spending a full day putting that roof up there. So it costs a little bit of money in labor, and the shingles cost what the shingles cost, right? If you have a tar shingle roof, it'll cost you, the difference might only be $1,000 or $2,000 on that. If you want to enclose a garage though, now the difference could be potentially a little bit bigger, because as a rule of thumb you can basically say the more time that it takes to do something, the more spread there is to be built. Because if a professional company that has a bunch of expensive trucks, a call center, and 8 people that they pay $30 an hour, if they spend 2 weeks doing on something, that can get very expensive. Or if they pay them, if they charge $50 an hour, that can become very expensive. At the same time, if you have a crew of 4 guys that work for $20 an hour and can basically are really, really hard workers, and you don't have any crew and you don't have a call center and so on and so forth, they can basically, the labor cost is literally cut in a third by what that job is being done. And for example, enclosing a garage doesn't require that much material, but it requires more labor. So therefore, a retail cost is higher and a rehabber cost is lower. Is that fairly accurate, Mike? Mike, would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, the cheaper labor is where you really can make up for that.
Right. Because the thing is, in case of really luxury items, as a rehabber, you can find the same luxury item much, much cheaper. But if it's a basic rehab, you can buy the tile for 89 cents at Home Depot, and if you go to a rehabber, they might charge you $1.50. For a retail shop, they might charge you $1.50 for square foot. Over 1,000 square foot house, that's only going to make a difference of $500. But if you have, I mean, just for the materials, but the labor, that's where really the difference comes in. So the pool repairing a pool is probably going to cost the same, because even a rehabber is going to use a professional pool company so that it's warranted and so on and so forth, because there's specific materials, specific knowledge in order to do this. So most rehabbers that I know don't go and refurnish or refurbish a pool themselves. They bring the professionals in, and therefore the price is the same. And the bathroom, now here we're talking big difference. Now when you see here 7 versus 5,000, you think it's only $2,000 difference, but this is the minimum difference that we're showing here. So a bathroom can easily cost $10,000 if it's in a bigger size bathroom, and if you have to tile a shower, and if you have to tile the bathroom, the bathtub, and tile the floors, and do a few fancy things. But and in that case, that same bathroom, somebody else can do that for $5,000. I mean, I've seen a bathroom where just the backsplash of a shower, just basically a foot-to-ceiling tile in the shower, just the backside of the shower is made in these tiny quarter-inch tiles that have like melted color and kind of a shine to that. Just the material on the back end there costs $1,500 for the back end of that shower. So you can add easily $10,000 into a shower, but a rehabber is going to know how to use a material that costs less and still looks amazing, and they're going to know how to, again, the labor comes in, how to get the labor lower. So the rehabber might be able to get that bathroom done for $3,000. That the same bathroom costs a retail $8,000 or $9,000 or $10,000. So now that you see big spreads there. In the kitchen, the same thing. Kitchen is huge. Kitchens sell properties. So you want to make sure that certain aspects are really looking good. So a retailer would go and would sell a homeowner a brand new kitchen with new cabinets and new countertops and everything. And a rehabber might go in and actually polish and paint the kitchen because he has cheap labor, and then just spent a little extra money on super nice countertops. Now you got a really nice combination. It looks beautiful, and people are attracted to it. So again, this is an area where the kitchen might cost you 10 grand. You can do it for 5, or the rehabber can do it for 5. Foundation, again, there's certain things that the foundation companies give investors specific massive discounts on their deals. So foundation issue to a retailer. At the same time, they increase the amount to the rehab in the retail stores, so the retail sales. So therefore, again, that's another $5,000 or more in difference. And the carpet, again, we talked about in the last session. The rehabber cost might be $250 per square foot installed, and the retail might start at $4 per square foot installed. Now, Mike, I'm sure you have done in your many rehabs. Perhaps you can illustrate one example where there's really a massive where you got a particularly good bargain deal done on a bathroom, kitchen, whatever it was.
I do. I actually have one again, and I use my personal house some because we did a lot of rehabbing on it. And one of them is when it came to the bathroom, we obviously wanted to tile, shower, and all that. We were with our contractor at a store and at a tile store, and I was picking out. We wanted a specific design, and I found that particular tile in the very small pieces. They were very expensive. So I started putting this on the cart, and my contractor came up and asked, what's your vision? And I said, I'd like this line here and this line here using this type of tile or this design. He said, you need to put all that back, and I'm a little confused. I looked at it, well, I want this design. This is mine. I want it. I don't mind spending a little bit extra if it's mine. You don't have to. What he did is he took some of our larger tiles that we used in the house. He literally cut them down to size to recreate that same thing. It literally saved me several $1,000s just because of his know-how of how to do tile work without having to buy something that's already pre-made.
Now, No, go ahead. Go ahead.
$4,000.
Yeah. Now, do you think
over 3 or 4 baths.
do you think a general contractor walking into a house with a seller that is like frustrated is gonna give him that option?
No way.
No way. And go ahead.
They're going to see an opportunity to make the money.
Exactly, because
that's,
here's something I discovered that not everyone might know that's listening to this course, that actually as a general contractor, you get a massive discount at the tile store. You get a 40% discount just for being a general contractor. So is that general contractor gonna pass that bargain on? No way. They're gonna make that money themselves. So the more material they can use in a retail rehab, the more money they make. So that's another key point here. And tile stores, if the homeowner walks in, they don't show two prices. They only show the higher price. They might show a tile where the tile costs $6 a square foot if it's a really high-end travertine tile or something like that. But then the rehabber gets it for $4 or $3.50 actually even. And so therefore, just on the tile they save by just being a general contractor. And there right there is a bunch of savings. So very good point, Mike. So yeah, so that's that point. And then a professional rehabber. So in summarizing this, a professional rehabber can actually get the property market ready and sold faster, cheaper than the owner can. They can they're basically, you are the middleman between the homeowner and a professional rehabber. So what you do is you calculate to the homeowner in retail price, because that's what the homeowner actually has to pay. It's not deceiving them, because the homeowner doesn't have access to the retail to the wholesale prices. And then you market to the wholesaler, and of course the wholesaler knows what his wholesale prices are. So therefore you want to have multiple rehabbers or cash buyers in your Rolodex to ensure you get the deal done. And we're going to talk about that in the next few sessions on there, about all the selling parts. So one rehabber might actually be busy or low on cash, so you need to always have backups on them. So even if the homeowner wants to find a rehabber themselves, they usually can't, because they don't know where to find them, and they won't have the relationship with multiple rehabbers like you have, and that's what's part of what you bring to the table. You're literally the solution for that rehabber. All right, cool. So with that, unless you have any kind of additions to make, let's move on, right? Are you looking to invest in real estate? Then click on the link right now here and come to the other side, where there's literally dozens of trainers waiting for you with top-notch real estate, online marketing, and financial education training. Plus you can set up a free demo account and get 4 courses right away without any credit card necessary. Click on the link right now.